Okay, well in the next few minutes I'm going to show you how to play that, and hopefully it'll be helpful to some people, and I hope you enjoy it. So the tune had a little intro at the beginning which just cycled through these 4 chords. Okay, so I'll do them slowly. So the first chord, I use my second finger across those 2 strings, then the third finger comes down here, and the first finger's going across here. It would be possible to play it like that, with rather than using this finger across 2 strings, to use these two fingers on up here. So this is the 7th fret, but I find that tricky. But maybe if you've got small hands, that's better. Next chord. Second finger here on this string, first finger here, third finger here, if you can see that, and then, so that's the first 2 chords, and then just a finger straight across, barring all the strings, and then this one, which is, so first finger across on the 7th fret, barring across all the strings, but then the second finger comes in on the 2nd string, and the little finger is on the top string up here. So you got that? So that's a nice little intro. Here's another freebie. If you use the second chord, and rather than doing that, you take the whole chord up a fret, you've got another sort of intro. Which would have worked just as well. Okay, let's now start with the tune. Okay. The first chord, the tune starts like this. So that's basically 2 chord shapes with a bit extra added on to each one. So the first chord, first finger goes across these 2. This string's open, and the second finger is here. And then I just use my third finger on the 3rd fret to put the second note in. Next chord. Bar all the way across, and then the 3rd finger is on the 3rd string, 5th fret, and the second finger is on the melody note at the top, which is on the 4th fret. And then you take that finger off to get the lower note. So it goes. And then what is it? Okay, so this is a chord shape that you already came across in the intro. You'll find that we reuse the same shapes in different places on the neck of the uke. So this is first finger here, 9th fret, 4th string, second finger here, 3rd finger here on the 3rd string, and then little finger on top. So it goes. Okay. You'll see some repeated bits in a minute, but the next chord, the way I do it, well, the way I was doing it here, was I was barring across with my first finger on the 1st fret, and then second finger here on the 3rd fret, 3rd string rather, 3rd fret as well, and then my 3rd finger on the 1st string, 3rd fret. So, and I use my little finger to get the melody note there. Now I wondered if this might be tricky for people with small hands, so you could, rather than using these 2 fingers, use these 2 fingers. But then I found stretching the little finger up there a little bit awkward, so I did like this. So the next bit it is similar to the thing in the this part of the beginning of the tune. This bit that we just did a few seconds ago is then repeated 2 frets up. So after this, here's where I mean. So I could just strum those. Okay, so this is where we got so far. Lovely. The next chord I found tricky with my fingers because it's a bit big perhaps, but so it's the 3rd finger barring across those 2. It's on the 13th fret, I suppose. And then this is how I did it anyway. And then the 1st finger barring across these 2. And the other fingers were just kind of scrunched up as best they could. And the next chord is barring across on the 11th fret, then the 3rd finger, 13th fret, and the 2nd finger, 12th fret on the 3rd string. So it goes. So I just take the 3rd finger off to go. The next chord is this, barring straight across with the 2nd finger across these 3 strings, and then the 1st finger is just on this, on the 5th fret. So this is on the 6th fret, and then on the 5th fret I put the 1st finger across onto the 4th string, and it goes, and then the little finger takes a melody note going up, so it's going. And then the next chord I do find tricky. Easy on the guitar, but a bit cramped on the ukulele. So I'm going to try to explain how this is done. So that's 1st finger here. That's on the 2nd string, probably the 9th fret. Then on the 10th fret I've got my 3rd finger on the 3rd string, and on 10th fret I've got my 2nd finger on the 4th string, and then the top string I've got the little finger on the is that 10th fret? Okay, and the chord that follows this is a shape we've already done a few times in different places. So the way I do this, the 3rd finger and the 4th finger stay in the same place, and then I move my 2nd finger to where my 1st finger was, and my 1st finger comes down 9th fret on the 4th string. So where are we on this part of the tune? Okay, does that make sense from the beginning? Yeah. So I found the particular fingerings I was using here to be useful because I was struggling with everything being a bit too close together. So I kept my little finger, the next chord, I keep my little finger where it is, and then I'm barring across with my 1st finger on the 8th fret, and then these 2 fingers, they might look like they're doing something, but they're not. Okay, so where do we go? And then the next chord is this one again, which was the one I was saying was very tricky a minute ago. So it was 2 chords before the one I just played, so we went here. So this chord I'm going to play again in a minute. Yeah? And then I just take that, I take the little finger up 1 fret, and then the next chord, the next bit goes, so that's barred across here, 4th fret, 2nd finger there, and 2nd finger on the 5th fret on the 3rd string, 3rd finger on the top string, and then little finger helps the melody note. So have we got that? And then this chord is a new one. Okay, it just uses the 3rd finger across these 3 strings and the 1st finger down here. So where was that? And then the next chord, next chord or pair of chords, the first one I'm just barring across with my 3rd finger, and the 1st finger comes down on this bottom string here. These are the 2 fingers aren't doing anything. So those 2 chords, we had that one, and then this one, this 3rd finger just slides down 2 frets, and the 1st finger goes down 1 fret, and then it's this chord again. This chord that we use several times, so it's the diminished shape, I call it. So it's this. Where we got to? The next shape I did, hopefully you can do this. There might be other ways to do this if your fingers are too small. So I've got my 3rd finger here. I've got my 1st finger barring across these 2. I've got my 1st finger coming down there. Sorry, my 2nd finger coming down here. So that's the 1st chord, and then the 2nd chord I just move my 2nd finger down 1 fret, and then the next one I take my 2nd finger off and I bar all the way across with my 1st finger. So it goes like this. Yeah? And then I use my 2nd finger to bar across the 3rd fret here, and I've got my 1st finger on this note. And I just use my little finger up there. Yeah. Yeah. The next shape, second finger here on this string, 5th fret I suppose, 3rd finger here, 5th fret, 4th finger here, 5th finger here on the 6th fret. Okay, and then I move that whole shape. I move up 2 frets. And then I do this shape, which is one we've used before. It's the one I said I thought was easier to do with my, like that in the previous place, but I'm going to do it like this here. So it's this first finger barring straight across, third finger here on the third string, third fret, and little finger on the top string there. And then that diminished shape again. So that's so little finger, second finger, third finger there, fourth finger here. Okay, so that's the whole first half of the tune we've done now. We had the little intro. Which we could play for as long as we like. And then it went. Okay, the second half of the tune is much the same as the first half to start off with, so back to that chord that we had at the beginning, and then straight away. All the same as it was before. Here's where it's different. That shape again the same as it was before, but then you take a melody note on the second string. It's the only time we use a melody on the second string here. So this is has the second finger barring across these, and then the first finger on the fourth string, and then the little finger goes the melody note up here, 2 frets above where the second finger is. So, and then up here, just the third finger barring across on the 13th fret, barring across the top 3 strings, and then the fourth string, the first finger's coming down. I find it a little bit tricky, my fingers being a bit too big. And then we do that diminished shape again that I was talking about. Yeah. And we're through to the last phrase, I think. So this is first finger barring across on the first fret, third finger on the third string. Don't think we've done this shape before. And then this one is the second finger on the top string, first fret, next string open, third string, first finger on the first fret, and then fourth string open. So it goes. Okay, so this one has start from the second finger, 11th fret on those 2 strings, and then the third finger on the third string on the 12th fret, and then the fourth finger on the fourth string on the 10th fret. So that's just a finger barring straight across on the 8th fret. Then that shape that was an introduction. It's barring across on the 7th fret there, the little finger up there on the 10th, and on the 8th you've got your second finger on the third string. And then that's the chord we had at the very beginning. Yeah? So, and it just had a tiny little bit at the end, a little tag at the end, which some people call the count Basie ending, which is just three chords. So it's this chord. We've done this before in the tune. So it's little finger there, first finger there, and then third and fourth fingers on the 5th fret, and then that diminished shape again. This time on the 6th fret. And then that shape that we had at the very beginning. So I'll play the whole thing just slowly, I suppose. This is from the very beginning. That's the intro. Do it again. Yeah. So it sounds quite nice, just played slowly like that. I know there's a lot of things to learn there, but I hope you noticed that some of the same shapes were used again and again in different places. Okay, well I hope that was useful. If you do learn to play it, then why not post a video on YouTube and send me a link. I'd be interested to see other people playing it, and it'd be nice to know that people have got something from the video. Well, good luck with it. Cheers.